Welcome to a Change Pick and Mix Learning Bump, brought to you by Dr. Jen Fram from Conversations of Change and Lena Ross from Change Hacks. You can watch these 10 to 15 minute clips delivered by either Jen or Lena anytime, anywhere, again and again. Now sit back and enjoy being bumped.
When delivering human-centred change, it's important to create an environment where there's psychological safety. Now, if you can recall a time where you have felt comfortable speaking out and sharing your thoughts with your team, the chances are that you've worked in a climate where there's been psychological safety. And on the other hand, if you can think of a time when you've raised ideas that were ridiculed or dismissed, you probably felt demoralised and less likely to contribute more. I'm Lena Ross from Change Hacks, and together we're going to explore psychological safety. We're hearing more about psychological safety these days, particularly as we're hearing more about new or modern ways of working and self-managed teams. So let's start with a definition on what it actually means, and then we'll explore it a little bit more. Psychological safety is a belief that one will not be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or mistakes. This is Amy Edmondson's definition, and we're going to find out a bit more about her soon too. So as mentioned earlier, it's about when it's safe to speak up, and also it's about an environment where it's safe to experiment and being vulnerable in front of our team members. It's the foundation for a blameless culture and high levels of trust. So what does it actually look like? It's when I can say or think these things. I can make a mistake on this team and it's not held against me. Members of this team are able to bring up problems and tough issues. People on this team accept others for being different or thinking differently. It's safe to take a risk in this team. It's easy to ask my team members for help. No one in this team would deliberately act in a way that undermines my efforts. And my unique skills and talents are valued and utilised in this team. So overall, it's about being comfortable being you, to bring out the best in yourself, and so you can bring that best version of yourself to work. So who's talking about it? Who are the researchers in this space, and what are they bringing to the table? The term psychological safety itself was around in the 1960s and enjoyed a revival in the 1990s with William Kahn and Edgar Schein, as it was recognised as being conducive to learning, growth and change in organisations. And more recently, it's gained currency with Amy Edmondson, who's a professor from Harvard Business School. In her research with teams, which involved many medical teams, Amy Edmondson found that the best teams were the ones admitting to errors and discussing them more often than other teams. And she went on to say that psychological safety is the opposite force to impression management. So here we can see ego is the enemy, as it impacts our listening skills and it impairs our judgment and openness to other points of view. Well, Google initiated a well-known 2-year study called Project Aristotle in 2012 to find out what makes a great team. This study has been written about a great deal. Google researched 180 teams, many in engineering and in sales, through numerous interviews and drawing on existing data on staff engagement surveys. Let's have a look at what their findings were. Google found these 5 elements contributed to team success: psychological safety, dependability, structure and clarity, meaning and impact. And the number one element, as we can see, that was a standout ahead of the other 4 characteristics was psychological safety. From this study, psychological safety is defined as team members must be comfortable taking risks, speaking their mind and supporting each other. So it's an environment that's free of ridicule. Now we also have Joshua Kerievsky, who's an Agile expert and speaker, and he's developed a framework called Modern Agile. His framework has 4 characteristics which we can see on this diagram of his model. His 4 characteristics are experiment and learn rapidly, deliver value consistently, make people awesome, and of course, make safety a prerequisite. So in making connections between agile and new ways of working, Josh Kerievsky has also recognised the importance of psychological safety. He says safety is a basic human need and the key to unlocking performance. And we know the link between performance and productivity. So this quote is from an article by the Agile Coaching Exchange, which is on your reference list as well. And they say, psychological safety is the very foundation for organisational effectiveness. Let's have a look at why it's important. If we consider the Google research, we know that it unlocks high performance, and a team with a high level of trust and autonomy is going to perform better. And it also uncovers real problems. If you feel safe bringing up risks and issues, you're going to uncover what's on their mind and you potentially uncover real problems. It encourages innovation as well, because the safety to speak out actually means that you'll gather diverse views. And I see it as the antidote to groupthink. When it's safe to speak out, it also fosters a blameless culture. People are more likely to experiment and think out loud. And as we know, high-performing teams are the productive ones, and that productivity translates to improved business performance. So when you free people up from fear and they feel as though they can be themselves, you are really unleashing productivity, potential, and high performance. Now, there's a few things we can do to promote a climate of psychological safety and apply the principles as leaders. One is to ask inviting questions. By doing this, you help create an environment where it's okay for others to ask questions and share their amazing ideas and contribute. Another one is ask for opinions. Invite other points of view and invite other people to help you. Acknowledge your own weaknesses. Showing a little bit of vulnerability makes a person really human and promotes safety. Jen Fromm talks about vulnerability in another learning bump on personal qualities. A way you can actually demonstrate some vulnerability and your openness to learning from others and really inviting their ideas is reverse mentoring, where a more senior person seeks counsel from a junior employee. And this signals that everyone is valued and really invites fresh thinking. Frame things differently. When we talk about our work as a learning exercise, it shifts our mindset so we're more open to testing and learning. Align your performance metrics too. Reward team members who demonstrate these behaviours that support psychological safety. These are the team members who contribute, share, and respect other people's points of view. And the last point there is to make your meetings a safe place. So make those a safe place for people to share their ideas and continually ask questions and respond to questions. Okay, so a few things that we can do back at the office or back in the workplace to help us cement some of this learning and to practice is some home play and experiment. And here's a short activity you can do with your team to help unpack what might be holding people back. Tell your team about psychological safety and tell them that it's going to be a topic at the next team meeting, and that may involve drawing up a team agreement. At the meeting, after you've walked through what psychological safety is, you could even show them this clip as part of it. You can agree on a social contract, which is how the team will raise, respect and accept different views or respectfully challenge one another. This will create an environment where it's safer to speak out and ask questions. To really make it okay to challenge one another, it's often up to the leader to support this by modelling and rewarding the behaviours that demonstrate psychological safety. So this is where you may want to consider or include a rotation of reverse mentoring that I mentioned before. Josh Kerievsky from Modern Agile says, you need to constantly keep saying to your people, please speak your minds, we need your ideas, don't hold back. So keep reminding them, don't just make this a once-off message. Now for the very curious among you, there's lots more to read and a couple of clips you can watch. So if you go to your Learning Bump page that goes with psychological safety, you'll find those resources and links there. And of course, if you've got any questions at all, you can reach out to either Dr. Jen Fromm or myself on Twitter or connect with us on LinkedIn and drop us a line, and we're happy to stay connected.
You can watch these 10 to 15 minute clips delivered by either Jen or Lena anytime, anywhere, again and again.